Om Shanti. Shanti. So, today, first, I will talk a little about the nature of the study that we are engaging in, and then I will talk about the piece of study that I want you to understand today. So, first thing is, do you understand that what you are studying right now, is different from what you study on Google or what you study in the school or college? And what is the difference? Yes, what is the difference? I have been time and again telling you, yes, Tejal Ben?
In schools and colleges and other places, we learn about everything about the external world. It is not related to the inner world.
Right.
But here we are trying to explore ourselves,
Ourselves.
connecting to ourselves and to the Supreme Power.
Yes. So there is a difference in the way we do this study. When we are studying in school or in college, or we are finding something on Google, it is different from how we do it here. Now, one thing I have been time and again telling you is, this is something that has come from God. So what you are today knowing is something that's coming from the mind of God. It's not coming from a human mind. So you need a lot of silence and you need a lot of introspection to understand the mind of God, because we have been operating on the material plane for very long. And we should understand that everything that we listen will not make complete sense to us in the first go, because we are not on the same plane as God. Okay, so in this context, I will try to use 3 words to differentiate between what comes from the mind of God, what comes from the mind of human beings. So there are 3 words which you often hear in information, knowledge and wisdom. And often various people interpret it variously. But today I will give you what I understand out of these 3 words. And what I understand is, information is knowing something, but it may or may not translate into anything of value. You just know something, that is information. For example, I might know that this vegetable contains a certain protein and this food contains this many carbohydrates or this many amount of calories. But then I may not use it in such a manner that it gives me some utility, or it makes me, I'm not using that information to better my life or to better where I am right now. So then it will be called just information. And when we have information which translates into use value, like it translates into wealth, it translates into health, it translates into comfort, and you are using that know-how, that information, and applying it in such a manner that you get some utility out of it, or your external circumstances are able to be made better by the application of that information, then it is called knowledge. So basically, it's not about the what that defines it, that differentiates it from information to knowledge. It is the how you use it. So if you just know something, that is just information. If you use it to give you material betterment or material progress, then I would call it knowledge. And when you have access to that kind of information which has the potential to translate into inner well-being, and that inner well-being, you actually apply it to ensure that your inner well-being is in place, or you grow happier or peaceful, or it translates into an inner experience, then that information will be called wisdom. Now basically everything is a piece of information, but how you take it and use it is it determines whether you are able to operate it with that information in such a manner that you make it knowledge or wisdom. For example, I will tell you that we have been discussing that I am not a body, I am a soul, and my qualities are knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss, and power. And God is not a something, God is a someone, He's somewhere up there, and He's in the beyond, and that is the soul world. And this is just information coming from the mind of God. But then, how you use that makes you wise or unwise. Now, I could just use that information to share it with others and maybe earn appreciation or earn something. So that is when I use it as knowledge. Okay, so I applied it in a way that it gave me some utility of a material kind. But then if I am able to use this set of knowledge, this set of information that Baba is giving us in a place of deep realization, and I really sit with it and think about it, then it ensures a possibility of coming to an experience of peace and happiness, and a realization of peace and happiness which no other information has the potential to. So this piece of information has the possibility, the potential to translate into wisdom. But whether you do it or not is up to you. Yes. So this is something that I wanted to share with regard to the nature of the study that we are undertaking. And also another thing I would like you to understand is, before I come to the chapter today, see, if you want to simply understand how a tube light operates or how a fan operates, you have to go to an engineering college for 4 years. Yes. And then you understand how a tube light operates, or how a fan operates, or any of the gadgets that you use operate, or what are the principles governing them, or what are the principles on which it is created, and other things. Now, if we want to understand how I have come to become who I am, how the world operates, how this universe functions, I think it would not be wrong for me to say that it would take you at least 4 years to understand it properly. Because this is at least bigger than how a fan operates or a tube light operates. Yes, so if you want to understand all the rules and the spiritual laws that govern the universe, you will have to sit with it for some time, and you will have to take it as given. Just like if you go to a engineering college and you don't have faith in what the teacher is teaching you, you will never be able to get it. So that is why in science there is a way to go about scientific truths, which is you first suppose, let's accept this is so, and then you experiment, and then you come to the realization that yes, it is so. Similarly, in spirituality, you have to first suppose that yes, God has come and God is giving this knowledge, and let me experiment with it with faith, and only then will you come to the realization. So, there is a way to go about this spiritual process. It is not consequent upon your logic to understand everything, because our logic is very material oriented and we cannot understand everything by logic. So today the piece of information that Baba has given us, which I will share with you, which is a very profound information, and if you really use it well, then you can be very wise. So today we will understand about the way this universe operates. Now, those of you who have studied economics or maybe some other subjects which talk about micro and macro, have you ever studied some subject which has two aspects to it, the micro and the macro? So if you have studied something of that nature, then it will be easier for you to understand what I am going to tell you today. So now you see, I was an economics student, and sometimes, I would study microeconomics and then I would study macroeconomics, and it is very difficult to understand that these two are related. Because it sometimes look like macro parameters are going on their own in their own way, and then micro is something very different. But then in the totality, if you see, the micro is creating the macro, and the macro is influencing the micro. So this is something that we understand about the nature of the connection between micro and macro. So we have understood the micro aspects of spirituality until now, which is who am I, what I think, how does it affect the atmosphere around me, or how does it affect my sanskars, or what is individual karma, or what I should pay attention to, what is the individual consciousness that I should create. So these are micro aspects of spirituality which more or less relate to individual functioning. But today we will understand the macro aspects of the universe. And in this chapter, what we have to understand is this universe also has a pattern. Yes, there is a pattern to the universe. And of course, that pattern is also created by each of us contributing our own bit to the universe. But then there is a definite pattern of the universe. And in a previous session, I told you about the three elements of the universe, which is souls, matter, and God being eternal. Yes, we discussed this, that there are only three things in the universe: souls, matter, and God. Do you remember that? So there is no fourth thing. There is only souls, matter, and God. Can you think of a fourth? There is no fourth. There are only three things in the universe. And then in these three things, if you look closely, then you find out that all these three are eternal in nature. So about matter, it is said energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only change from one form to another. About souls and God, spirituality says Atma Paramatma Ajar Amar Avinashi hai, which is they are never created, never destroyed. So all these three aspects of the universe are never created, never destroyed, and this is what we precisely mean by eternity. Okay, so when we want to depict eternity, there are two ways in which we can do it. One is in the form of a cycle, because only a circle or a cycle has no beginning, no end. Yes, and then there is another sign which is used to depict eternity, which is infinity. So when you use an infinity sign, if you see it, it's all connected and there is no beginning, no end. It doesn't have a beginning point and an end point. So this is how we describe eternity, or no beginning, no end. And mostly if we understand that anything that doesn't have a beginning or an end is in the form of a cycle. And the principle of a cycle is last effect is first cause. Last effect is first cause, which is every last point of the cycle determines the present point, and then slowly, gradually we come full circle. So there is no point which is not preceded or succeeded by another point. So if this sounds complicated, there is another way to understand it. There are three aspects of time: past, present, and the future. There is no fourth aspect. And whatever is there in the present has a connection with the past. Yes? And whatever is being done in the present has a connection to the future. Right? So there is no point in this cycle where we start afresh, which is, there is no point which doesn't have a past or a future. There is always a past and a future. So that's why we say it's a cycle or it is eternity, because there is no starting point. And every point is a consequence of the last point or the last second. And everything that we do in the present second has a consequence which we will have to reap in the next second. So there is no breaking free and starting afresh. So this is the nature of the cycle that we are talking about. And souls, matter, and God, all three of them operate in this cycle. So matter, souls, God operate in time, and that time has three aspects: past, present, and the future. Am I clear up to now? Yes, you will have to think about it. It will require a lot of dwelling upon, but this is how the universe is. And when there are only three aspects of time, past, present, and the future, then what we need to understand is we have a past and we have a future. And we are somebody right now. And there is no way we can stop being who we are right now. There is no way I can stop my past from having an effect on me. And there is no way I can stop the future that I am creating out of what I am doing right now. So this is the circumstance that we are always in. So most people have a very big fixation with this question, whether everything is predestined or there is free will. Yes, so there are people who ask you this kind of a question, or sometimes you have this question whether there is free will or everything is predestined. So you must understand that there is free will in the present moment, But the present moment is not free of the effect of the past. Yes? So, when that present moment is not free of the effect of the past, so it is very nice to say that we definitely have free will, because we make a choice in the present moment, but that free will is not very free. Because we are limited by our circumstances and our buddhi and our understanding and our state of mind, which is a product of the past. So every person has both these choices at his disposal. One is choice, which is there every second, and another one is destiny, which is the burden of the past karma that I am carrying. So at every point, both these things operate. There is choice and there is destiny. Okay? So we have free will, but the free will is not very free. And our job is to make the best choices given the limitations. Okay? Given the limitations, making the best choices is our job. Now, what do we mean by given the limitations? So, a big part of the spiritual practice is about knowing the nature of what is and accepting what is. Okay? So, a big part of spirituality is acceptance of what is, not denying what is, not resisting what is, knowing what is for what it is, and accepting it as it is. And another big part is making choices according to what makes most sense to me, given what is. So when you are not resisting the present, you are able to accept it, and with that acceptance you are able to create something which is best possible given the circumstances. And wisdom is all about this. Yes? Now, I will tell you one thing. There is a brother who I know very well, and he has been with the Brahma Kumaris for the last 10 years. And when I asked him how he came to Brahma Kumaris, he gave me a very good reason. He said that he met with an accident 10 years back, and he was bedridden for 6 months. He couldn't get up from bed. And when he met with the accident, he didn't ask why. He didn't ask why this accident happened to me. He said, I was very pissed off with my job. So I was very happy that now they will give me a leave even without me asking for it. And then he said, I was just very happy that I met with an accident. And in that happy frame of mind, the first thing I came across was Brahma Kumari's program Awakening with Brahma Kumaris on the television. And when I came in contact with that program, I just took to that program and I started watching it. And when I started watching it, then slowly, gradually, I started figuring out why I met with this accident. And then 6 months later, I had become a half BK, which is I had understood half of the knowledge. And then after I got well, I went to the center and took the course. And from then on, life has been very good. So now you see, that brother why he could take advantage all the 6 months, every day of the month, because he accepted what is and tried to understand what best can I do in these circumstances. Okay, so this is about predestination and choice. So he couldn't avoid the accident. The accident happened, and it happened for the reasons it happened. But then what you make of it is what is up to you. So the free will is always there, but the free will is not very free. Now, when we talk about this whole past, present, and future and how they are all connected, what we must understand in this is it is more like the chicken and egg story. है ना, जैसे अंडे से मुर्गी और मुर्गी से अंडा. So you don't know what comes first. You don't know whether karma creates the universal play or the universal play creates karma. Okay, for example, if I ask you a very relevant question at this point of time, which is, are you here because of the lockdown, or did the lockdown happen because you had to be here? Okay, so this is something, so sometimes, you can't figure out whether you are doing something because it is destined or it is destined because you are doing it. So for example, you are undertaking this course, but time has a very important factor in bringing you here. Yes, but then you are the one taking advantage of time. There are so many people who are in this lockdown, but they are not making the choices you are making. So time has a role in it, which is, before the lockdown you didn't come here, so definitely the lockdown brought you here, but then it didn't bring everybody, and it brought you, so there is a choice inherent in it. Yes, so there are both these factors. There is the factor of time and there is the factor of choice always. है ना, समय से पहले किस्मत से ज़्यादा नहीं मिलता, लेकिन समय और किस्मत का फ़ायदा भी कर्म से ही उठाया जाता है. So when the time arrives, when it is destined, then only you can do that karma. But then the karma is also very important, because without doing that karma, you can't take advantage of that time and opportunity. So your future is built on what you do, but then what you do has a bearing, it has a foundation on the time and the destiny that you've created in the past. So both these factors are equally important. The past is important, the future is important, but the present is also important, where you discern what your past is bringing to you, what you have done in the past to come up to this position, and then what you should do right now so that you end up in a good future. So all this is very precise calculation, and this is precisely the nature of the universe. Now, just like it is very difficult to tell which came first, the hen or the chicken or the egg, or it is very difficult to tell whether the seed came first or the tree came first. है ना? So the seed is born out of the tree is born out of the seed. So you don't know which came first. Similarly, we don't know whether karma is important or drama is important. So there is destiny, then there is karma. Both are important. So today I will tell you the interplay between souls, matter and God. So there is the nature of the universe, I will tell you as told to us by Shiv Baba. So Shiv Baba tells us that this universe operates in a cyclic fashion. And this universe is an interplay between souls, matter and God, and it happens cyclically. and this cycle identically repeats itself. Okay, so we will talk about all these aspects slowly, gradually, but for today it is a cyclic pattern. Just like there are so many cycles in this world, the cycle of day and night. Yes, so there is a cycle of day and night, and the day and night are divided in a fashion which they are divided, and it repeats identically every day, right? So there are 24 hours, and out of them 12 hours is the day, 12 hours is the night, and then after 24 hours again it is the day, and again it is the night. So this is how it keeps rotating. Then there is a cycle of seasons. Yes, and in that one season gives way to the other, and the other gives way to a third, and then nobody is doing anything. Do you think somebody is bringing about these seasons? No, there's nobody doing it. So there's nobody bringing about seasons, there's nobody switching on and switching off the day and night. Yes, so this is Kudrat. This is what we call the design or Kudrat, or in Brahma Kumaris we call it the drama. Okay, so then there is the water cycle. So the sun shines, then the water evaporates, and then it forms into clouds, and then the clouds rain, and then there is water on the earth, and then the sun shines, and then clouds are formed again. So even in this case, there is nobody doing anything. It's just a self-perpetuating pattern, with one thing leading to the other very organically. And just like there are so many cycles in this world, there is a cycle of 4 युग्स. 4 युगों का एक चक्र है, सतयुग, त्रेता युग, द्वापर युग एंड कलयुग. ओके, सतयुग, त्रेता युग, द्वापर युग एंड कलयुग. एंड आफ्टर कलयुग, what is that after Kalyug? Again Satyug, again Treta Yuga, again Dwapar Yuga, again Kalyug. Just like so many cycles in the world, this is also a self-perpetuating cycle. So there is nobody running it, it's just the way it is. So there is a Satyug, which is the morning of the universe, just like you have a morning, afternoon, evening and night. So there is a morning of the universe which is called Satyug. There is a day of the universe which is called Treta Yuga. There is an evening of the universe which is called Dwapar Yuga. And there is a night of the universe which is called Kali Yuga. Yes, and just like your body gets tired from morning to the night, even if you don't do anything, even if you sit in a place, what happens is your body gets tired, because there is a law which says energy in motion depletes itself. And this is a stage where we are in motion even when we are not moving physically. So everything is vibrating, right? So that's why energy in motion depletes itself. So even if you're sitting, you will get tired. Similarly, the soul gets tired moving through Satyug to Kalyug. And that just like you need to recharge yourself in the night so that you can come back to being yourself in the morning, similarly, there is something called Sangam Yuga. There is something called Sangam Yuga, or the confluence age, which comes in between Kalyug and Satyug. And that is the time when you recharge yourself, because that is the time when God comes and God gives you access to His buddhi, to His mind, to His relationships, to His love, to His purity, to His peace, so that you can take all of that and come back to being yourself. Whatever you had lost through this Satyug to Kalyug, you regain it by your contact with God. And that is why God is called Buddhivano ki Buddhi, restorer of conscience. He is called Patit Pavan. He is called Dukharta, Sukhkarta. So all these names are given to Shiv Baba because at the end of Kalyug, you need him so that you can shift from impurity to purity, from sorrow to happiness, from a low functioning conscience to a high functioning conscience, from peacelessness to peace. That's why we say Shanti Deva, Paramatma Shanti Deva hai. So we have all these titles because there is a time when God comes and gives access to himself so that we can take what he has to offer and recharge ourselves. So, before coming to this session, you knew you were in Kalyug. Where do you think you are right now? Are you in Kalyug or are you in Sangam Yug? Hanji? Kalyug. और कोई? Where are you right now? Huh? Yes. Okay. How many would say that in Kalyug, if I ask you that, look at your life for the last 10 years, if not more, yes? And in the last 10 years, our life in the sense internal state was going downhill, right? Every day, every month, every year, we were growing a little less peaceful, less happy, less contented, yes? We were going downhill, correct? Now it's been 15 days or 16 days ever since you started this journey. Do you feel you are going slightly uphill? A little uphill, maybe not much? Yes? Yes. Now, this journey of going upwards did not happen in the last many years and many births. Since many births, we have only fallen and fallen and fallen with regard to our internal state. Although we have made progress in the material world, but then that has not translated into peace or happiness or bliss or purity or power. If you look at the state of the world right now, there is so much of security equipment which we did not have maybe in the last 20 years back. We didn't have it. But alongside the growth of security equipment, there has been tremendous growth in fear. So people are not becoming secure internally by having access to security equipment. Am I right in saying so? So the security equipment doesn't ensure security. Yes. And then the health equipment doesn't ensure health, does it? Because health equipment is for cure. So the fact that health industry is growing is indicative that we are getting more and more unhealthy. Otherwise it wouldn't grow. So basically, once I came across a picture which was very interesting, and in that picture there was fruits and vegetables in one frame of the picture, And then in another frame, there was gym equipment, exercise and stuff. And then on the third, there was medicines and surgical equipment. And then the picture asked, which one of them is health? And it is interesting that although we intuitively and very logically know that health is more about fruits and vegetables and exercise, but still when we talk about the health ministry or whatever our approach to health is, it's more about how many hospitals we open or how many medicines we we develop, or the research and development, or all the health expenditure is about that. It's not about promoting good food or promoting a spiritual lifestyle or promoting a spiritual thought process or promoting an active lifestyle. It's not about that. So what we must understand is that although we have made a lot of material progress, most of it is unproductive, or in some cases I wouldn't back out from saying that it is counterproductive. Because if you look at the invention of the air conditioner and the refrigerator, so the air conditioner and the refrigerator are the ones responsible for greenhouse emissions. And then greenhouse emissions lead to global warming. And then you use these more and more to beat the heat. So then the equipment that you use to feel less hot is actually contributing to the universe getting hotter. So basically, if you see, all human efforts in this direction are very counterproductive. So although we would say that we have made material progress, but that material progress has not translated into inner well-being. And when it comes to inner well-being, we have only deteriorated. And when Shiv Baba comes, this is the only time when we start feeling that there is an aspect of inner well-being which I have access to, and when we start applying it, we feel that the fruit of it is I'm feeling more peaceful, more contented, more happy. Maybe not perfectly, but yes, to some measure I am. So you are not in Kali Yuga anymore, you have come to Sangam Yuga. And Sangam Yuga is not a physical age, it's an age of consciousness. So you can be physically in Kali Yuga, and at the the level of consciousness you can be in Sangam Yuga. So this is how it operates. So now this is the way the world operates, which is from Satyug to Kali Yuga. We keep depleting ourselves because energy loss is a natural phenomena, and the soul loses its internal energy of knowledge, purity, peace, love, happiness, bliss and power. And then God comes in the end, recharges us, and then we can move back to Satyug, right? So, and obviously Satyug is, again Satyug will require souls, right? Satyug में कोई दूसरे planet से तो नहीं आएंगे ना, हम ही लोग होंगे. So that is why there is a very beautiful saying, संस्कार परिवर्तन से संसार परिवर्तन. So when you change, the world changes, because the world is a collective consciousness and it is created collectively by our individual consciousness. So when each of us connects with the highest consciousness, which is Shiv Baba, then each of us gets to our elevated consciousness, and then the world changes, because that is actually a product of collective consciousness. So this is the pattern in which this whole cycle moves. And today I will talk about one more phenomena, which is Do you know that the world population 100 years back was just 2 billion approximately? So if you look at the data on Google, you will find out that the world population, human population, was 2 billion approximately 100 years back, and today it is 8 billion approximately. So now do you understand that we are not all here always? We are not all here always. Yes? So if I tell you that 100 years back it was 2 billion and today it is 8 billion, so where were those 6 billion souls? Because a soul is avinashi. Yes? So they were not dead, they were somewhere. So where were they? Where were these 6 billion souls 100 years back? Hanji. Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes, now I can.
Now can you? So do you miss some parts of the lecture?
Sentences.
Okay. So I'm asking that today the world population is approximately 8 billion, and data says that the world population was approximately 2 billion 100 years back. So where were these 6 billion souls up to the last 100 years? Hanji? Sangam Yug.
Basically, they were in either matter or Paramatma, part of matter or Paramatma.
Okay.
Because there
Okay.
are three elements only:
Okay.
soul,
Okay.
the matter, and Paramatma.
Yes. So, okay, this is a very interesting answer, and we will have to talk about it. So, when we say there are three elements, so these are not interchangeable. Because if they were interchangeable, we wouldn't say there are three aspects. We would say they are one and they interchange into the other. So souls don't become matter, souls don't become God, God doesn't become soul or matter, and matter doesn't become God or soul. These are three distinct things. So, because I told you that a soul is not just a CD which you can break and then make. A soul is a CD with a recording. And if you break a CD, the recording would be lost. Yes? So the soul is indestructible. That means you are one soul, you can't be half a soul, you can't be two souls. You are one unit and a definite unit with a unique recording in you, and you are you always. Yes, you may be tired, you may be fresh, but you may be in different states of your consciousness, but you will be you always. That whole part in you is intact. So souls don't become God. So there is this big belief system in bhakti which says, and when I say bhakti, it means whatever we did until we came to Shiv Baba. So whatever beliefs we held until then is called bhakti. So in bhakti we came to know that souls merge into God and that God breaks into souls. So that is not true, because if it was so, then 6 billion souls came out of God, then God must be very small now. So God is reducing in size or what? So God is not reducing in size. God is God. God is Roop mein Bindu, Guno mein Sindhu. He is not Roop mein Sindhu, ki we will all break from him and break into pieces and fall off on earth. So this is not how it operates. So God is God, I am me, you are you, and we are all different and unique. So these 6 billion souls were waiting in what we understood as the soul world. We talked about the soul world, and I told you that there are sayings like Dunya Musafir Khana hai, Ana hai aur Jana hai, and the world is a stage and we are actors. So this is a stage, and an actor is on a stage only when his time arrives, but rest of the time the actor has a home. So we are all actors, but we have a home called the soul world. So we are there in the soul world until we are here. Okay? So those 6 billion souls were in the soul world up to 100 years back, and then they came down. Now, if I tell you that 100 years back the population was 2 billion, and today it is 8 billion, and you all know from population studies that the population increases in geometric progression. Yes? So, if the population 100 years back was 2 billion, is it okay to say that it took millions of years to reach 2 billion if it takes 100 years to move from 6 billion to 8 billion? So if you apply the theory of geometric progression, will it take billions of years or millions of years to reach 2 billion? No. Now if I tell you that it took 5,000 years for the population to start at 9 lakhs and reach 2 billion, does that sound okay? Yes. So precisely this is what Shiv Baba tells us, that only 5,000 years back you were in Satyug. This world was Satyug. It is not some other world that we are talking about. 5,000 years back this land was Satyug. You were at your highest consciousness. You were operating not like humans but like divine beings. You were full of peace, purity, love, and your population was just 9 lakhs at that time. And then slowly, gradually, as time passed, you grew more and more impure or less and less pure, and then other souls joined you, and slowly the population increased, and today you are at your lowest consciousness and the population is at the highest, and then now you have to come back to being yourself. Okay? So does it make sense? Yes. So this is precisely the knowledge that 5,000 years back we were Satyugi, this world was Satyug, and Satyugi is nothing, we didn't have 4 hands or 8 legs, we were just the way we are, it's just the consciousness was different, and because the consciousness was different, you understand that everything else followed. Today when you go to a doctor, that doctor will tell you that your diseases are psychosomatic. Yes? So obviously when you were in highest consciousness, your mind was completely pure and peaceful, then you won't have diseases. If you were peaceful, loveful and pure, your relationships would be in harmony. So that is Satyug, right? And today we are in disharmony because of our low consciousness. And then Baba is teaching us, reminding us of who we were and what is our potential, and giving us the power to go back to it. All right, we will discuss in more detail about this. Ha Tejal Ben, bolo.
So I have a question that
Yes.
is Sangam Yug possible to be there in every Satyug, Kaliyug, Treta Yug and Dwapar Yug, because there will be souls who are in their highest form of consciousness or those who are connected to God.
No, because in every yug we are only declining. If there was Sangam Yug, then Satyug won't change into Treta Yug, it will go back to Satyug. Okay, so we say Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, Kali Yug because the entropy is increasing. So if there was Sangam Yuga and there was reinstating, then we would go back to being our original self and we wouldn't decline. So, it's like the dawn cannot come until there is the darkest night. So there is this rule that अति के बाद ही अंत होगा, अति से पहले अंत नहीं हो सकता. So we have to come down to the lowest before we rise again. है ना? So there is a rule which says you can't rise until you can fall further, like until you cannot fall further, right? So this is ha.
Yes. Does it mean that all the souls are in Sangam Yuga right now? I mean, all of the population.
Only the ones, see, see, God has come for everybody. But you tell me, are all the souls in Sangam Yuga? Like, you have made some progress in 15 days, but has every member of your family done that? No. So everybody has a chance to be in Sangam Yuga, but they are not there because of their choice. All right. So this is about destiny and choice. So destiny, time has come that we can all be in Sangam Yuga, but we are only there in Sangam Yuga if we make the choice. Okay. Om Shanti. Let's meditate for a few minutes and then we'll meet tomorrow. I become aware of myself. I am not the body sitting on the chair. I am the soul sitting in the center of the forehead of the body. I, the soul, have a man and buddhi. And now, Shiv Baba, the बुद्धिवानों की बुद्धि, has come and taken me into his canopy. He is enlightening my buddhi, and I can see, understand, and experience things which are beyond the reach of my physical body. I can see beyond the limitations of this body. I know that I am an eternal soul and I have always existed. Just 5,000 years back, my costume was different. My body was ever healthy. My mind was pure and ever peaceful. My relationships were harmonious. And the world was heaven. Today I am here and things have changed. But tomorrow I am again going back to that world. I have been through this cycle innumerable number of times, and I exactly know that this is my time to go back to being myself. My memory is activated. I remember my divine form and my divine world very clearly now. Let me sit in this feeling of realization for some time. Om Shanti.